Hey guys, Ashley here.
And I'm Ray.
And this is Taste Culture LA. I'm super excited.
I'm very excited.
So we are making Gumbo-laya.
Oh yes.
What is Gumbo-laya, you ask?
Fusion.
Fusion, Creole fusion.
Definitely a Creole fusion.
It's super simple. I like gumbo. He likes jambalaya.
Yes, I like my rice. So that's why we're making a Gumbo-laya. She doesn't like rice. I like rice. She likes broth.
Team no rice.
I can do both. I just don't like crab. So that's why it's a Gumbo-laya as well. Because jambalaya is mostly chicken. And
Gumbo has everything. So it has a little bit more seafood on top of the chicken and the sausage.
Right.
So we're going to show you how to compromise and make it super easy. We're making it on a weekday.
Oh yeah.
So it's not going to take that long.
You gotta be patient though. You do have to let that joint just sit and let the house fill up with some smells.
Ooh, yeah.
And then you're also gonna have those good leftovers because it's definitely gonna be about a pound, 2 pounds of food. So
this is going to be a lot of food.
yeah,
This is
if it's
definitely
only
something
two
you
of you
can.
guys, 3 of you guys, then
Right.
it should stretch.
This is something that you can eat for a few days and it's going to get better day after day. So
Absolutely.
that's something that's really good. If you have the time, take the time. If you don't, this is a super easy recipe. We'll make sure all the information is in the description below. Super easy for you to follow. Just follow the steps and you can be eating just like this. Let's get into it. So we did a lot of the prep work because that stuff is not fun for you guys to watch.
It's not fun.
So we did it all the hard work is done and we're gonna show you everything step by step. So first you're gonna need some chicken. We like dark meat in this house. So it's just got
thighs.
more flavor. The thighs.
Yeah.
Thighs save lives.
Thighs save lives.
So what we
Thighs save
did
lives.
is we debone this. We clean the chicken, obviously. Debone it, and then we cut it into bite-sized pieces. So the reason we do this is 2 reasons. One, it's gonna cook faster. If you keep the bone in, that's just gonna be more time that the chicken has to cook all the way through. So debone it, and then even from there, cut it into bite-sized pieces. Gumbo's better when everything can kind of fit on the spoon, in my opinion.
Yes.
So just make everything smaller sizes.
Woo.
We have 4 cups of chicken broth. You can use vegetable if you really wanted to, but I want the flavor. This is chicken broth. You can use store-bought if you're real fancy and you have some that you made on your own. All you need is about 4 cups. And then we have our holy trinity when it comes to Cajun Creole food and also French-based cooking. The holy trinity is super easy. Celery, onion,
Bell pepper.
Yes. Green bell pepper. We have some cilantro. I'm not a huge fan of okra, so this is something that is completely optional. Some people, and I know this debate is about to rage on in the comments.
Like the great Dom Kennedy says, gumbo just ain't the same without okra.
Look, I get it. I know y'all okra fans are gonna kill me for my statement. It's just too slimy for me.
I mean, hey, I'm just going with the lyrics say, bro. It's just ain't the same without okra. So
We have it.
see.
We're gonna use
Platinum
it.
Chanel, you know what I mean? Shout out to Dom Kennedy.
What up, Dom? A little spicy, so I'm using some jalapenos that I have from our taco night last night.
Why not?
And garlic and some fresh bay leaves.
Yes.
So let me show you how we put all this together. We have our pot back here getting nice and hot. We're gonna add a little bit of coconut oil.
We forgot to show you guys.
Oh,
Don't
sausage.
forget the sausage.
So andouille sausage
Diced
is what you
sausage.
want to use. We're dicing ours. You can use anywhere from 2 sausages to 6, depending on how much you really want in there.
If you like sausage,
Do it up.
do it up.
So chop your sausage, and this is actually the first thing we're gonna get browning even before we get our chicken. So if you can get that going, babe,
Yes, of course.
I will season the chicken. Okay guys, let's talk seasoning. The most important thing you can ever do to your food is seasoning it.
Oh, season.
Please don't have bland food. So especially when we're talking about Cajun food, there are super important seasonings that you need. We're gonna cover everything. I like to season my chicken and then go back in and season my full gumbo or Gumbo-laya, like I'm gonna show you in a little bit. I'm even going to show you some of my cheats for when I'm being extra lazy. So this is foolproof, guys. So right now what I'm gonna start with, my red ground pepper, and this is like cayenne. The reason I like to start with this is because later I'm going to use paprika and they are the same color. And I like to know how much spice I'm putting on my food so I'm not burning everybody. So I'm just putting enough to kind of cover the top layer. I don't measure my seasonings. I know that's really bad, but that's about, I'd say, a teaspoon. Next, I'm gonna go in with my paprika, and this is gonna be probably closer to a tablespoon to 2 tablespoons. I like to make sure it's fully covered. The best thing about when you're seasoning, don't be scared to overdo it. What we're gonna do right now is I'm gonna start, and if I feel like I need a little bit more, I'm gonna add a little bit more. The great thing about cooking is it's super easy as long as you have the patience and you try all of your food. I'm gonna start with just this nice layer that you just saw on my chicken, and if I feel like it's not fully coated, I'll add a little bit more. So next I'm gonna go in with my onion powder. I am not scared when it comes to utilizing onion powder and garlic powder. So I'm probably gonna use about a tablespoon and a tablespoon and a half maybe of the onion powder, maybe to 2. Again, I'm not scared of using seasonings. It just makes it taste better. And then I won't have to season as much of the actual gumbo. So now I'm going in with my garlic.
The more garlic, the better.
So I am also gonna go in and use a little bit of thyme. If you have fresh thyme, you can always use it. I think that thyme and celery seed in Creole or Cajun food is just so good. It brings that savory flavor of everything. So I'm just gonna use a little bit of, and the exact measurements are gonna be in the description below, guys. So don't panic if you're like, oh my God, I don't know how much you used. Here, I'm gonna get on my soapbox really quick about salt, okay? Stop using iodized salt. It is bad for you guys. We all need to switch over to kosher coarse salt. It's larger salt molecules, salt sizes, whatever you want to call it.
Shameless plug. Here's what it looks like,
I mean,
you understand.
Still Morton's. She's still under her umbrella.
No free branding.
Trev said, "Get the branding out of here." The reason we're gonna do this is because it's more natural. When you iodize salt, you're actually taking the little bit of nutrients that is in the salt away. So. And you also want to get the coarse salt because although it looks like I'm about to use a lot of salt, it's not as salty. So I'm just going to salt this generously.
Morton's, let me get a check.
Send it through.
You're...
So it looks like a lot, but it really isn't, especially because we're going to add all this broth and water and kind of dilute this down. So I'd say that was like 3 healthy pinches of kosher salt. Now, I do add a lot of salt because I'm not adding salt anywhere else other than this and the actual broth. Now, if you're going to do this the lazy way and cheat a little bit, we have Tony Chachere's. You guys let me know in the comments which one was right. But this is a great way to season your food if you want to be a little cheat and not deal with getting all these different seasonings. This is one. Again, Trevor's like, yo, no free brands. Cut the check. This is good, but it is very salty. So keep that in mind. If you're using this, you probably won't need to add any other salt in it. That's why I'm not using it today. Cool. Another one is, I really like this one. Louisiana brand products. I use this a lot of times for when I'm being lazy with my fish fry, and this gumbo pack is actually really good. Sometimes I use it, sometimes I don't, but we're doing it from scratch today like bosses. We're going to just mix this up, make sure everything is evenly coated, then we're going to take this and Ray is going to brown it.
So we're just going to mix all that in, season it real good. You want to throw a little bit more on top, baby, or you think this will do?
You know what? We're going to leave it right there for now.
Okay. So once I get all this in, I'm pretty much take this over to the stove and throw it right on in my pot.
So you want to layer your components of your gumbo. So we started by browning our sausage, and then from there we went in and we're going to brown our chicken. Then we're going to pull that out and set it aside, and then we're going to brown our veggies and then make our roux and then put it all back together.
And then we're just going to wait for that yumminess to just do its thing.
We're going to sit in this house for 40 minutes while it smells absolutely delicious, and no, we can't touch it.
All right, so we're just gonna brown this chicken, throw that right on in there. Now, pot's already hot, so it's still got some of that flavor from that sausage. So we're just gonna Make sure we can get a little bit of space, a little bit of real estate for all these pieces in here. Some of these pieces, I kept a couple of the bones just to preserve some of the flavor, like this. See how the bones still have a little bit of meat on there, and that's just to, you know, give it some, what would you say, baby?
Flavor. It adds to the stock, the richness of everything. So it doesn't have to cook all the way through a big old meaty piece of thigh, but the bones have the flavor. That's how you make your stock anyway. So keep the bones if you want a little extra. If not, throw them away. Up to you.
And I'm gonna pull this out because we don't want to fully cook it. We just want to get it nice and browned on the outside, and it'll pretty much cook all the way as it's boiling for the most part. So it's nice and brown. Remember, it's only about 30-40% cooked, so.
I want some of that juice stuff. Woo!
Oh, in the pot?
Yeah.
All right, well, whatever Lola wants, Lola gets.
Okay, so we kept that beautiful broth, if you want to look. I kept it in here and I just turned it down so it wouldn't burn. This is that extra seasoning that was on top of the chicken, some of the fat that's rendered down. Now I'm going to cook my veggies. So this is your holy trinity, remember. I'm going to start my celery and try not to make a mess. I'm going to start with my celery. So this is about 1 large onion. Again, I'm not scared of onion and garlic. I love it. So if it's not your favorite, I would maybe use a half. That's totally fine. And then my bell peppers. So this is just going to cook down. This is where that patience Ray was talking about comes in. So this is all gonna cook down, and what we're gonna wanna see with this is a little bit of sweat. So that means your onions become a little more tender and see-through almost. Your bell peppers are really tender. Your celery is gonna look see-through also. And this is going to add to that almost like roux, which we're gonna make. I make my roux in a separate pan because I feel like the only way I can execute a proper roux is in a cast iron pan. Without that, I've burned it because they heat up unevenly. Pans like this one, or pots like this, in my experience, heat up unevenly. So I'm gonna use the nice cast iron so I can get an even heat. I'm gonna make the roux in the next pot. All right, so this is my roux. I'm just gonna take it a little bit darker than this color. Typically, your roux is some sort of fat and flour. This makes like almost like a gravy that will keep everything thicker. So what I'm doing right now is just kind of binding it all together. You have to keep stirring your roux. If you stop stirring your roux and turn around and go do something else, you will burn it. Your gumbo will be trash. Throw it all away. It's just that simple. So I am almost done here. It's almost the color I want it. I just want to cook this flour down a little bit more so my gumbo doesn't taste like flour. I'm gonna cook this down, and then we have our vegetables over here.
It smells fantastic.
That we're just going to add this roux into it.
So we're just gonna add that on in and mix it on up.
So you can chop your garlic. I grated mine just because it's gonna melt into the food instead of have a bunch of chunks. So we're just gonna add that in. So next we're gonna do a little bit of tomato paste and some tomatoes. Cook that down so we cook out that tomatoey flavor. And then we'll add our stock. So this is 14 ounces of tomatoes that are diced. Again, I don't like mine tomatoey because then it tastes like I just poured a bunch of ketchup in here. So I strained a lot of that juice out. So that's the tomatoes. Mix that up, babe. This is exactly what you want to hear before you add your chicken broth. Come in, take a look. Some ASMR. Gumbo-laya. So now that everything's married together, we're going to add our broth. Little ASMR for y'all out there. All right, so I know you're like, what in the debauchery is going on in this pot right now?
Goodness.
We're gonna turn this up to medium-high flame. So right now I'm just getting all of that yumminess off the bottom of my pan from us browning that chicken. So I'm just scraping my spatula on the bottom of the pan a little bit here. We're gonna cook this down. So we're gonna bring this up to a boil, and then I'm gonna start adding in my meats. So let's add in this chicken and this sausage, and then we're gonna let everything cook down. So our sausage,
some cilantro, no?
At the end.
Okay. Oh, yeah, let's grab that. That's just been waiting for a pot.
Got it?
I sure do. Do we want a bone in here? Yeah, huh?
Yeah, you can fish them out later.
Why not? Let's go for it. Look at that, just beautifulness. And yeah, we forgot to tell you guys, we got some shrimp. So we're gonna add that a little bit later towards the end, but yeah, we're gonna have some shrimp for this too.
And now I'm just gonna add in my shrimp. So the shrimp go in last because it does not take long to cook them. It's going to cook in this hot soup that we basically have. You see it turning pink already. So that's probably going to take about 5 minutes. Now, this is the time when you can also add in your crab legs or any other seafood. I've made this and I had clams. I've made this with crab legs that was already deshelled. Ray is real lazy and doesn't like to crack his own crabs, so that's why we're not having any today. But the best thing about gumbo is you can use pretty much whatever you have on hand. So if you have some chicken, some sausage, some seafood, whether that's shrimps, clams, lobster, crab, crawfish, whatever it is, throw it in. It's one big delicious pot of yumminess. Like Ray said, although this is something you can make on a weekday, it takes a little bit of patience because everything needs its time to cook. It's like a stew, like a broth, or like a soup. So you just gotta kind of let it do its thing and marry together.
All right, so we're wrapping it up. Ooh, that's...
Yeah,
yes.
I was speechless for a second.
Oh my God.
Let's ladle this up. Let's serve these plates.
You gotta come get a close up of this. Do you see that? Oh my God. That's just heaven, guys. So, you know, it's about an hour and 30 minutes prep time. And as far as cook time, an hour. Yeah. That was about an hour, right?
It was about an hour.
Okay, so a little less than what I thought as far as 90 minutes. It was about an hour. Maybe a little over, so maybe about actually like 70 minutes or so. So that's a pretty good rule of thumb. But you know, when you cook, obviously make your own rules. Like, you know, when your stuff looks done, you know, you be the judge. Oh my God, this looks amazing.
I'm like ready.
So Ashley, like we said earlier, she likes hers without rice, like a true Panamanian. I had some rice and beans from, you know, the other night. I'm just gonna take this, plop that on top.
Look at him trying to do it up with the presentation. You know, let me assist. Let me throw my man an assist.
Thank you. Thank you.
Woo, boy, that's a $20 bowl of gumbo right there, dog.
You know what I'm saying? Like Ja Rule would say, what would I be without? Shoot. Anyway, so we're gonna pretty much eat this gravy. Just magic. Pure magic. What you think, Trav?
That's it.
And that's a wrap. Until next time, guys. This is Taste Culture LA. We're gonna finish eating. Peace.
Bye.